Harris was making what was her closing argument last night at the Ellipse. At the same time, Biden was making remarks, and I want to read what he said because there's a lot of critics are saying one thing, he's saying another. He said this: "The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters." Then he paused, and then he added this: His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable and it's un-American. What are your thoughts on his comments?
Well, I know that the Biden-Harris campaign and the Biden White House are really trying to add that apostrophe. Like, I think that's a little bit of a PR spin as somebody who's been in communications and political communications for almost a decade. It's a lot of, there's a lot of spin there to try and say that the grammar was the problem. But look, I think what's far worse than Joe Biden saying that, I mean, of course, people are viewing this as his deplorables moment that Hillary Clinton had in 2016. But I think that there really is contempt for Trump supporters out there by the media, but really by the Biden-Harris campaign, Biden-Harris administration. We heard during the vaccines, right, that non-vaxxers would face a cold, harsh death or something of that sort. People who are not towing the line, they're called Nazis. I mean, Nazis is a far worse word to be called than garbage. So I don't make a whole lot of Joe Biden's and his team's spin on that. I think he said what he said. And, you know, he should just probably say, wish I didn't say it, back away from it, and apologize.
What do you think then the candidate should be saying about these comments? Because as you noted, this has been a 48-hour plus news cycle here. Trump said, hey, I don't know that comedian. I wasn't there. He didn't denounce those comments, though. Harris today said that, hey, Biden clarified his comments, although I don't think that we should be, pillorying someone based on who they voted for. What do you think is the appropriate response?
Well, to be very clear, though, Trump's campaign did say this in no way reflects Donald Trump's views or the Trump campaign's views in any way. And Donald Trump went on to say, I love Puerto Rico. I love the Puerto Ricans. They actually had some sort of a Trump-like brigade or parade in Puerto Rico. So, I mean, sure, there's going to be people like Bad Bunny who come out. I don't think that they were for Donald Trump in the first place. I don't think that this is going to make an electoral difference, at least on that end. I think that people know the left is largely intolerant of Trump supporters, of Republicans. So I don't think that this was terribly surprising. It was just saying the quiet part out loud.
Do you think, though, you mentioned the comment earlier of Hillary Clinton's basket of deplorables, that was really a flashpoint in her 2016 campaign. Yeah. Is this equivalent of that? Is this equivalent of Mitt Romney's 47% comment back in 2012? Does it pack that same punch? Because as we know, Biden's not running, and as we know, that comedian isn't Trump.
Yeah, the comedian isn't Trump, so I think that really doesn't move the needle. Yeah, Biden isn't on the ticket. I think garbage is worse than deplorable, but you're right, he's not on the ticket. Does this really move the needle? I want to be honest with you. There is so much early voting happening now. I think it really is going to come down to the nuts and bolts of this campaign. I don't think that there's a lot of undecided voters left. And honestly, I don't think there was a whole lot of undecided voters in the first place. There was just kind of double haters, people who didn't like Donald Trump, people who didn't like Kamala Harris. And I don't think that if they show up to the polls, they probably won't be voting for either. They'll just vote down ticket.
So you essentially think, hey, I don't like these comments on either side, but this isn't changing the election one way or another. This isn't that October surprise that people are kind of making it out to be.
I don't think so, no.